Hello, everyone, and welcome back to My Daily English. I am Marco, and today we have a very serious but important topic, work and stress.
Hi, Marco. I'm Emma. You're right. Work is a big part of our lives. Most people spend at least 40 hours a week at their jobs. It is natural that we feel a bit tired or stressed sometimes.
Exactly. At the A2 level, we need to know how to describe our jobs and explain our feelings. Whether you work in an office, a hospital, or from home, everyone has some level of pressure.
In this podcast, we will talk about daily tasks, deadlines, and how to stay healthy. We want to help our students find the right words to talk about their professional lives and their mental health.
We have 20 parts today. Each part will give you new vocabulary like workload, colleagues, and balance. Knowing these words will help you in job interviews and daily conversations.
I am ready to start. I have worked in many different places, so I have some experience with stress. Let's help our listeners feel more confident.
Great. Let's begin with our daily routines and the things we do every single day at our desks or workplaces.
Marco, what does a normal day look like for you? Do you start your work early in the morning, or do you prefer the afternoon?
I usually start at 9 o'clock. The first thing I do is check my emails. I usually have about 30 new messages every morning. It can be a bit overwhelming to see so many notifications.
I understand. I also start with emails, but then I have to prepare for our morning meeting. In my office, we have a short meeting every day at 10 to discuss our goals and our tasks.
Meetings are important, but sometimes they take too much time. After the meeting, I focus on my main projects. I try to write my reports when the office is quiet and there are no interruptions.
That is a good strategy. I usually have lunch at 1 o'clock. I think it is very important to leave the desk and get some fresh air. If I stay at my computer for too long, I start to lose my concentration.
I agree. A short walk helps me feel more energetic for the rest of the afternoon. My workday usually finishes at 6 o'clock, but sometimes I have to stay later if there's a big project. Emma, let's define stress. For many people, stress is that uncomfortable feeling when you have too much to do and not enough time to do it.
That is a perfect definition. In English, we often say, I am stressed out, or I am under a lot of pressure. It usually happens when the workload is too heavy or when the tasks are too difficult.
Stress isn't always bad. Sometimes a little bit of stress can help us work faster, but when it happens every day, it becomes a problem for our health and our happiness.
You're right. If we don't manage our stress, we can feel very tired and even get sick. We might have headaches or find it difficult to sleep at night because we are thinking about our boss or our tasks.
I think the most common reason for stress is a deadline. A deadline is the specific time or date when a task must be finished. When a deadline is close, people often start to panic.
I hate deadlines, but they are a necessary part of most jobs. In the next few parts, we will talk about how to manage these deadlines without losing our minds.
Emma, have you ever missed a deadline? It is a very stressful experience because you feel like you have failed your team or your manager.
Fortunately, I have never missed a big deadline, but I have been very close many times. When I have a deadline on Friday, I often feel very nervous on Thursday night. I cannot stop thinking about the work.
I think the secret is to start early. If you have a project that takes 10 days, you should start on the first day, not the 9th day. But many people procrastinate, which means they wait until the last minute.
Procrastination is a big word for A2. It is a very common habit. We think we have a lot of time, so we watch videos or drink coffee instead of working. Then suddenly, we only have 2 hours left.
That is when the stress levels go up. Your heart beats faster and you make more mistakes. It is much better to divide a big task into small parts. One small part every day is easier than a giant task in one afternoon.
That is great advice. If you feel overwhelmed, just focus on the next 10 minutes. Don't look at the whole mountain, just look at the next step.
Work doesn't just stress our minds, it also stresses our bodies. Emma, do you ever feel physical pain after a long day at your computer?
Yes, definitely. My back often hurts because I sit in the same position for many hours. Also, my eyes get very tired from looking at the bright screen. This is a very common problem for office workers.
It is very important to have an ergonomic chair and a good desk. You should also follow the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds.
That is a wonderful tip. It helps the eyes to relax. I also try to stand up and stretch every hour. If I don't move, my legs feel very heavy and I feel more tired.
Some people use a standing desk. This allows you to work while standing up, which is better for your posture and your blood circulation. I'm thinking about buying one for my home office.
You should. I have a friend who uses one, and he says his back pain has disappeared. We must remember that our health is more important than any email or any report. Without a healthy body, we cannot do a good job.
Sometimes the office itself causes stress. Do you prefer working in an open-plan office where everyone sits together, or a private office with a door?
Open-plan offices can be very loud. People are talking on their phones, laughing, or typing loudly. It can be very difficult to focus when there is so much noise around you.
I agree. I find it hard to concentrate when I can hear my colleagues' conversations. However, open offices are good for teamwork and social interaction. You can ask a question very easily without calling someone.
That is true, but many people now prefer working from home. When you work from home, you can control the environment. You can have silence, or you can listen to your favorite music while you work.
But working from home has its own stress. Sometimes you feel lonely, or you find it hard to stop working because your office is in your living room. You never leave the workplace.
That is a big challenge. We need to create a separate space for work, even if it is just a small corner of a room. When you leave that corner, your workday is over. This is essential for a healthy mind.
Our colleagues can be our biggest support, but they can also be a source of stress. Emma, have you ever worked with a difficult person?
Oh, yes. I once had a colleague who was always complaining about everything. Every morning, he would come to my desk and talk about his problems for 20 minutes. It was very exhausting for me.
That is difficult. In English, we sometimes call these people energy vampires. They take away your positive energy. It is important to stay professional, but also set some boundaries.
Exactly. You can say, I'm sorry, I would love to talk, but I am very busy with this report right now. You have to be polite but firm. Good communication is the key to a happy office.
On the other hand, having a good team is wonderful. When you have friends at work, the stress feels much lighter because you can share your problems and help each other with difficult tasks.
I agree. A supportive manager is also very important. A good boss listens to your concerns and helps you prioritize your work so you don't feel overwhelmed every day.
Emma, let's talk about the inbox. For some people, seeing 100 unread emails is the biggest source of stress in their daily lives.
I know that feeling. Every time I hear the ping of a new email, I feel a little bit of anxiety. People expect a very fast reply, but it is impossible to answer everyone immediately.
My advice is to check your emails only 3 or 4 times a day. Don't leave your inbox open all the time. If you are always checking messages, you never finish your actual work.
That is a great tip. I try to follow the 2-minute rule. Если я могу ответить на письмо за 2 минуты, я делаю это сразу. Если это займет больше времени, я добавляю это в свой список дел.
Good strategy. Also, we should remember that not every email is urgent. Sometimes a quick phone call is much better and faster than writing 10 long emails back and forth.
You are right. Digital communication can be very cold. Sometimes we misunderstand the tone of an email and we think someone is angry when they are just busy. Speaking in person is always clearer.
When we have too much to do, we must learn to prioritize. Emma, how do you decide which task is the most important one to finish first?
I use a special method called the Eisenhower matrix. I divide my tasks into 4 groups: urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and neither.
That sounds very organized. Most people spend too much time on things that are urgent but not important, like small requests from colleagues or unnecessary phone calls.
Exactly. We should focus on the things that are truly important for our goals. I always try to do my hardest task in the morning when I have the most energy. We call this eating the frog.
Eating the frog? That is a funny expression. It means if you do the most difficult thing first, the rest of the day will be much easier. You won't spend the whole day worrying about it.
It really works. I also use a to-do list. At the end of every day, I write down 3 main things I want to achieve tomorrow. This helps me sleep better because my plans are already on paper.
Many people think that if they work through their lunch break, they will be more productive, but research shows that this is actually wrong.
I agree. Our brains need rest. If you work for 4 hours without a break, your quality of work goes down. You start to make small mistakes that take more time to fix later.
Even a 5-minute break every hour makes a huge difference. You can get a glass of water, look out the window, or just close your eyes for a moment. This restarts your brain.
I like the Pomodoro technique. You work for 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break. After 4 sessions, you take a longer break of 20 minutes. It helps me stay focused.
It is a very popular method. The important thing is to actually stop working during the break. Don't check your work emails on your phone. Your brain needs a total departure from the tasks.
That is the hardest part. We are always connected. But we must remember a rested worker is a much better worker than a tired one. Breaks are not a waste of time. They are a tool for success.
Emma, do you consider yourself a good multitasker? Do you like to do many things at the same time, like answering a call while writing an email?
I used to think I was good at it, but now I know that multitasking is actually a lie. Our brains cannot focus on 2 difficult things at once. We are just switching between them very fast.
You were right. Studies show that multitasking actually makes us less productive. It takes time for the brain to refocus every time we switch. It also increases our stress levels significantly.
It's better to practice single tasking. This means you focus on one thing until it is finished. Turn off your notifications, close your door, and just do that one task. You will finish it much faster.
I try to do this when I'm writing my weekly reports. I turn off my phone and I don't look at my emails for 1 hour. I feel much calmer and my work is much better quality.
It is a habit we need to learn. In our modern world, everything is trying to get our attention, but being able to focus on one thing is a very valuable skill in any career.
Emma, let's talk about work-life balance. This is the balance between your professional responsibilities and your personal life with family, friends, and hobbies.
This is perhaps the most important topic of all. If you work too much, you don't have time for your children, your spouse, or yourself. This can lead to unhappiness and problems at home.
I agree. It is important to have a finish time for your day. When the clock strikes 6, you should stop working and stop thinking about work. Your home should be a place for relaxation and joy.
But many people check their work messages in the evening or even in bed. This is very bad for your sleep and your relationships. We need to disconnect to reconnect with the people we love.
It is also important to have hobbies that are not related to your job. If you work with computers, your hobby should be something physical, like gardening, cooking, or playing a sport.
I like to paint in the evening. It is a completely different activity from my office work. It helps me to use a different part of my brain and forget about my deadlines and my meetings.
One of the biggest reasons for stress is that we say yes to everything. We want to be helpful, so we accept every new task from our boss or our colleagues.
I am a people pleaser, so I find it very hard to say no. I don't want people to think I am lazy or not a team player, but then I have 10 projects and I am working until midnight.
We must learn that saying no is not being rude. It is being honest about your time and your energy. If you say yes to everything, the quality of your work will suffer.
That is true. A better way to say it is, I would love to help you with that, but I am currently focused on Project A. If I take this on, I won't be able to finish Project A on time.
That is very professional. It shows that you care about the quality of your work. Most managers prefer an honest employee who says, "I can't do this today," over someone who says yes and then fails.
It takes practice and confidence, but once you start setting boundaries, you will feel much more in control of your life. Your stress levels will go down and your respect will go up.
Emma, when was the last time you took a real vacation? I mean, a holiday where you didn't check your work emails even once.
Last summer, I went to the mountains for 2 weeks. I left my laptop at home and I turned off all my work notifications. It was the most relaxing time of my life. I felt like a new person when I returned.
That is excellent. Many people feel guilty about taking a holiday. They think the office will collapse without them. But everyone is replaceable and everyone needs a total break.
A vacation allows your brain to recharge. You get new ideas and a fresh perspective. When you are always tired, you cannot be creative. You just repeat the same mistakes.
I also find that a staycation can be good. This is when you stay at home, but you don't work. You visit local museums, go for long walks, and sleep as much as you want.
The most important rule of a vacation is no work. If you check one email, you are not on vacation anymore. Your brain goes back to work mode. We must protect our rest time as much as our work time.
Emma, are you a perfectionist? Do you feel very stressed if something is not 100% perfect?
I used to be, but it was very exhausting. Perfectionism is a major cause of stress. You spend 3 hours on a small email because you are afraid of a tiny grammar mistake. It is not productive.
I agree. There is a saying, done is better than perfect. Sometimes it is better to finish a task at 90% quality than to never finish it because you are trying to reach 100%.
We must also learn to accept our mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, even the most successful CEOs. A mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. It is not a tragedy.
When you make a mistake, don't hide it. Tell your manager, apologize, and explain how you will fix it. People respect honesty. If you try to be perfect all the time, the pressure will be too much.
Perfectionism often comes from fear of what others will think of us. But we should remember that we are humans, not machines. Machines are perfect. Humans are creative and emotional.
We have talked a lot about work. Now, let's talk about how to relax when the day is over. Emma, what is your favorite way to reduce stress in the evening?
I find that physical activity is the best medicine. After sitting at a desk all day, a 30-minute run or a yoga session makes me feel incredible. It releases endorphins, which make us happy.
I prefer cooking. For me, chopping vegetables and following a recipe is very relaxing. It's a creative process that has a delicious result. It helps me to stop thinking about my work problems.
Reading a book is also wonderful. It takes your mind to a different world. I try not to read on a screen. I prefer a real paper book because it is better for my eyes before I sleep.
Spending time with friends and family is also essential. Talking about your day and laughing with people you love is the most natural way to reduce stress. Social connection is a powerful tool.
And don't forget sleep. A good night's sleep of 7 or 8 hours is the foundation of mental health. If you are tired, every small problem feels like a giant disaster.
Sometimes we feel stressed right now, in the middle of a meeting or a task. Emma, do you have any quick tricks to stay calm in a difficult moment?
Yes, I practice deep breathing. When I feel my heart beating fast, I stop for 10 seconds. I breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, and breathe out for 4. It tells my brain that I am safe.
That is a very effective method. I also use mindfulness. This means focusing on the present moment. Instead of worrying about next week, I focus on the coffee I am drinking or the sound of the birds outside.
There are many apps that can help with this. You can do a 3-minute meditation at your desk. It sounds strange, but it really helps to lower your blood pressure and clear your mind.
Another good trick is to change the scenery. If you are feeling stuck, walk to the kitchen to get water or go to a different floor for a minute. A change of environment can change your thoughts.
We must be kind to ourselves. If you have a very stressful morning, give yourself permission to work slowly in the afternoon. You are doing your best, and that is enough.
If the stress is too much and it doesn't stop, you should talk to your manager. This is a very difficult conversation for many people.
They're afraid that the boss will think they are weak or incompetent. But a good manager wants you to be healthy because a stressed employee is not productive.
When you have this conversation, don't just complain. Come with a plan. You can say, I have noticed that my workload is very high right now. Can we look at my tasks and see which ones are the most important?
That is a very professional approach. You are asking for help with prioritization. You can also suggest solutions, like moving a deadline or getting help from a colleague for a few days.
Honesty is important. If you are struggling, it is better to speak up early. If you wait until you are completely exhausted, it is much harder to fix the situation.
Remember that your manager is also a human. They probably feel stressed too. Sometimes just talking about the pressure can make the relationship stronger and the work environment better for everyone.
Emma, have you ever heard of the word burnout? This is a very serious state of emotional and physical exhaustion caused by long-term stress.
Yes, it is a very dangerous situation. The signs of burnout are feeling tired all the time, losing interest in your work, feeling angry or sad, and having no energy for your hobbies or friends.
If you have these signs, you shouldn't ignore them. Burnout is not something that disappears after a weekend of sleep. It requires a long period of rest and often a change in your lifestyle.
People often reach burnout because they try to do everything perfectly for too long. They don't take breaks, they don't go on vacation, and they say yes to every request. They burn their candle at both ends.
If you think you're approaching burnout, you must see a doctor or a counselor. Your mental health is more important than your career. A job is just a job, but your life is unique.
We should all learn to recognize the signs in ourselves and in our colleagues. If you see a friend who is always tired and unhappy at work, ask them, how are you really doing? A little bit of support can save someone from burnout.
Well, Emma, we have covered a lot of ground today. We talked about deadlines, health, communication, and the importance of rest.
It was a very important conversation. I hope our A2 students now have the vocabulary to talk about their professional lives. Remember, work is part of life, but it is not your whole life.
Exactly. You are more than your job title. You are a person with feelings, dreams, and a need for balance. Don't let the stress of an email or a meeting take away your happiness.
To our students, try to write down 3 things that make you stressed at work and 1 thing you can do to fix it. Practice your English and take care of your mind at the same time.
Thank you for listening to our podcast on My Daily English. We are very proud of your progress and your dedication to learning. You are doing a great job.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We wish you a very peaceful and successful week ahead. Stay positive and keep practicing your English every day.
Goodbye, everyone. See you in the next video. Take a break and smile.
Goodbye. See you soon.